she had your DNA, male semen, in her underwear.
I didn't like the way he looked at her.
We're not bullshitting you on this case.
Can you come out here for a second?
That's how he looked at her.
I'm sorry I have to do the right thing for that girl and her family.
It seemed like a typical day, an ordinary Wednesday in Jacksonville, Florida, when 16-year-old Iyana Sawyer took the school bus as usual to Terry Parker High School with her younger sister, SS. Their mother went to work as normal. But by the end of the school day, at 2 p.m., SS realized that her sister didn't board the school bus with her. This was very unlike Iyana. She was a creature of habit, a homebody, a straight-A student. She had a routine: school, home, her Aunt Naomi's house, and sometimes her job at the Chick-fil-A. That was it. It was on this seemingly ordinary day, December 19th, just a week before Christmas, when a teenage girl with a terrible secret disappeared, and a once close family was left shattered by the shocking revelation of what happened to her and why. This is Victor. Join me as I investigate and break down the anatomy of this crime. SS called and texted her older sister, but there was no response. She then immediately called her mother, who worked long hours in the medical field. Her mother, Kimberly Mobley, sensed something was wrong and rushed over to the school. She also called her other sister, Iyana's aunts, who helped look for Iyana. Iyana's aunt, Margie Mobley, rushed over to the school and made the 911 call.
Jacksonville 911 was the location of your mother.
It's going straight to both of my phone. Never goes to voicemail.
Do you think it's foul play?
Ma'am, I have no idea. This is just not like, this is out of character for her.
Okay.
And for me to call you on, something's wrong.
Okay.
Something is definitely wrong.
Iyana, a sophomore, was known as a dedicated student. She consistently achieved straight A's and was on track to graduate early, having already earned multiple scholarships for her academic excellence. She had big ambitions, wanting to become either a doctor or a lawyer, reflecting her drive and commitment to her education. Iyana loved to dance, had a wild sense of humor, and was incredibly driven, according to her younger sister. She was the eldest of 4 children. After her parents separated, she lived with her mother and siblings. Her aunts and her maternal grandparents also lived close by. The extended family was very close. Iyana was deeply loved by her mom, dad, grandparents, and even aunts. Every summer, she spent time with her paternal grandparents in Georgia, who had even set up a bank account for Iyana and her sister to give them pocket money. They also paid for the girls' cell phone bills. All the adults in Iyana's life were very much present. Iyana loved Victoria's Secret's pink line of products and owned a lot of their items. In fact, it was her prized collection. However, Iyana was keeping many secrets from her family. First was that she was pregnant, a secret she had kept from her extended family until just recently. She told them just 2 weeks earlier, on December 3rd to be exact, and she had informed her paternal grandparents a little bit earlier than that, back in October. They had advised her to tell her mother. But Iyana decided to hold on to this for weeks longer, until December 3rd. When she finally revealed the news, she didn't want to disclose who the father was. After being pressed, she eventually dropped the name Jose, describing him as a Puerto Rican and mixed. No one had ever heard of this Jose before. Her mother, Kimberly, was initially upset and shocked. No one, including herself, had known Iyana would get into any kind of a relationship. Despite the initial shock, Kimberly accepted Iyana's pregnancy, and the entire family rallied around her. They even agreed on a name for the baby, Hazel Michelle. But the mystery remained. Who was this Jose? And why was Iyana so evasive whenever anyone asked her about him? When the questions came, Iyana would withdraw or change the subject. Still, they were all supportive. Kimberly had already set up an appointment with an OBGYN on December 13th and went with her daughter. It was during this appointment that Kimberly got another shock. She learned that Iyana was already 22 weeks pregnant. That's 5 months, with a due date of April 12th, 2019. Iyana had hidden her pregnancy well, often wearing baggy clothes, which explained how it went undetected for so long. But now, as she approached her 3rd trimester, there would be no more hiding it. Kimberly started doing the math, and knowing Iyana's cycle, worked backwards to figure out exactly when her daughter got pregnant. It would have been between July 2018, when Iyana was just 15 years old. That month, both sisters had been spending the summer at their paternal grandparents' home in Columbus, Georgia. They returned on July 7th for their maternal grandmother's birthday, but that night, Iyana didn't stay at home. She spent the night at Aunt Naomi's house. Naomi was Kimberly's older sister, and Jonathan was her husband. Kimberly wondered who Iyana could have met that night, especially since it was a family event. Kimberly's mind went back a few months earlier. A son had told her that Iyana had slept with their 20-year-old neighbor, Kamar Humphrey, in March that year. Iyana had gone over to Kamar's home, and that's when it happened. Kimberly had been furious, a grown adult man taking advantage of her underage daughter. She took Iyana to the police to report the crime and press charges. Kamar had been sly, playing basketball with Kimberly's kids and using that as a way to get close to her 14-year-old daughter. Kamar would later move away entirely. But Kimberly wondered, could something like this have happened again? Did Iyana sneak out at Aunt Naomi's house to meet another man? Upon reporting Iyana's disappearance to the police, at first her disappearance was assigned to the patrol team, who can investigate for up to 10 days. If they suspect something more serious, a detective is then brought in. On December 21st, just 2 days later, the Missing Persons Unit began their investigation. CCTV footage from December 19th showed Iyana leaving Terry Parker High School earlier that day, and investigators started placing together the crucial timeline of her disappearance and her last known movements. Surveillance video confirmed Iyana left school around 11 a.m. Iyana is seen wearing a white hoodie with pink across the front, light blue jeans, black and white Adidas shoes, and carrying 2 duffel bags. Why would she need another bag? This was unusual for her. Was she planning on running away? However, there was no additional CCTV footage, leaving it unclear who, if anyone, picked her up. The search. Since Iyana's disappearance, her family combed through all of her belongings and every place she could have gone. Kimberly reached out to all her friends. The family and police appealed to the public for any information about her whereabouts. They kept calling her, but there was no sign of Iyana. As the search continued to intensify, her trail continued to get colder. She was completely unreachable by any means, and her phone and online presence were undetectable. Kimberly Mobley had taken it upon herself to search through Iyana's room for any clues about why her daughter was missing or where she could have gone. Iyana shared a bedroom with her younger sister, SS. As Kimberly looked around, she noticed that some of Iyana's clothes, including her Victoria's Secret's underwear and everyday wear, were missing. She immediately notified the police. Kimberly kept digging through all of Iyana's belongings, books, shoes, anything that might give her a lead. Then, in the closet, she found something that caught her attention. A shoebox containing herbal pills, parsley, and dong quai. Some incorrectly believe that large doses of these herbs can induce an abortion. On December 30th, the case was assigned to a homicide detective because the police felt this was more than just a missing persons case. The detective began by checking the bus and cab records, but found no evidence that Iyana had taken any of these modes of transportation. It was highly unlikely that someone had picked her up. Was it this mysterious Jose, or did she walk far enough to catch a bus from a different location? That seemed unlikely. She was pregnant and carrying 2 bags. No, someone must have picked her up. That meant the main suspect was likely the person who met her, someone she knew, someone she was expecting. While her kidnapping was another possibility, it seemed unlikely in broad daylight. One thing was clear, she left her school on her own accord, and it appeared pre-planned. The detective also considered the possibility that Iyana had run away because the pressure her family was putting on her to reveal the baby's father was too much for her. But if she had planned to run away for a long time, wouldn't she have taken her last 2 paychecks from her job at Chick-fil-A? Her digital footprint, or lack thereof, was troubling. Her phone had been off since the moment she disappeared. She's a teenager after all, constantly on her phone. Inactivity of her phone just didn't make any sense. There had been no activity of her bank account either. Her trail had gone silent, as if she just vanished into thin air. The detective began by interviewing all the family members and friends. Interviewing one of the aunts, Margie Mobley, the one who had made the 911 call. Margie told him that she drove over immediately and checked all possible routes at the school upon learning of Iyana's disappearance. That same day, she accompanied Iyana's mom, and they went through everything they could in Iyana's room, searching for clues. Her gut instinct told her that Iyana had run off with the baby's daddy. Then, the interview with Iyana's best friend, Alberta. She said Iyana had told her that her boyfriend was a man named Jose. He was a Hispanic mix in his early 20s. He had children, and she was incredibly in love with him. She also mentioned that her relationship with Kamal was nothing but casual. She did mention that she was pregnant with Jose's child, but she couldn't say anymore because there was a lot of drama going on at home. Detectives investigated this Jose character, but no one matching the description of a Puerto Rican male had been seen at the apartment complex, in the surrounding area, or at any time when Iyana had become pregnant. No one knew him, he was never seen. Was he real, or just a figment of Iyana's imagination, an invention as mysterious as her disappearance? The detective also looked into Kamar Humphrey, but his alibi checked out. He was out of town for work when Iyana disappeared, ruling him out as a suspect. And some of the sisters believed that Jose was a secret cover name for Uncle John. Based on this information, the police decided to pay Jonathan and Naomi a visit. Fast forward to December 27th, and the aunts notified the police of Iyana's journal, professing love for Jose. And because of the accusation in the group chat, many believed Jose was indeed Jonathan.
Okay, well, let me finish up over here. Okay.
Hey, John, what's going on?
Well, my wife just dropped a whole bunch of shit on me.
After a short conversation, they asked Jonathan about Iyana and if he's heard anything about her disappearance or whereabouts.
She reported missing today. Is she here? Was she here?
No, there's no, she's not, there's no report of a missing child today.
He then identifies the two ladies around him. Following this, his wife, Naomi, walks over.
Fish right here.
And who's the other lady next to her?
That's her sister, and I think that's my sister's wife.
Okay. All right. All this just got dropped
happened,
on me. Like
Both of us. I was just trying to get
Just
this
got
damn
dropped.
guy to sign a lease over here, and I'm coming back. I see patrol cars in my dang house.
Naomi jumps straight to defending her husband.
Do I think my husband is capable of any of this? No, I don't.
Guy work, right over here,
And there are cameras all out
everywhere. Yeah, so I'm there. You can check
Say hey
my
to Daddy
time
before
card.
you go show Aunt Janelle your fort.
Okay, I'm waiting to see this.
How was your day, baby? Good, she's done. Put the light on for her.
Jonathan then points to one of the sisters as the person who stirred all this up.
And she's the one sending the, showing the officers.
Yeah, so those are some pretty serious allegations.
Yeah, you tell me about it. And this is the reason, because me and my wife, we don't even talk to any of them because they were starting these rumors a while back. It's like...
He then goes on to defend himself by offering Iyana's past behavior as a possible explanation.
She ended up getting caught with the guy next door, and he was a much older dude. They came up with the whole idea that I was the one that termed them out for her. You know what I'm saying? It's just crazy gossip shit. It's like, it's nuts. I mean, deep down inside, man, I'm pretty sure that they fucking try to force these words into her mouth.
The officer then walks over to speak to one of the sisters who brought something along with her that made them suspect Jonathan was the one. It's Iyana's laptop, and she hands it over to the officer.
Okay.
And then let this window down.
You come out here for a second?
Huh?
Can you come out here for a second?
Yeah.
And I need the charger too.
Get out the way.
What's the password, man?
The password is...
She tells the officer Iyana's laptop's password and then proceeds to unlock it herself.
How do you get to it?
They're in the recycler bin right
The
here.
recycle bin?
And then she also got other notes over here on the side. If they ask you for a password, she got some of the notes locked. You have to put in the same password as the computer. She have those locked.
On what document? Is it
Yeah, some
OneNote?
over here, some over here. I have not even done going through them all. You go to OneDrive and then you click on
Well, it's clear that the aunts and Iyana are very close. She shares her password with them. But what's really surprising to me is the number of key files she has in her recycle bin. Could it possibly be that whoever she met with that day asked her to delete these files, and now, with access to incriminating information, there can be shown a level of premeditation that we weren't aware of before? Let me know what you think in the comments below.
Okay, so you want me to go back to show you how we got in there? It's a lot, so I'm just gonna.
Yeah.
After showing the officers how to get access to the files, they agree to hand the entire laptop over to the police to be booked into evidence. Meanwhile, another officer is speaking to Jonathan, who explains why these women are so paranoid and after him.
Well, now that they started looking through these journals, you know what I'm saying? That's what they're saying that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I understand. Yeah, it's for missing
The officer is attempting to establish some rapport to put Jonathan at ease.
relatives because
No problem.
believe it
to
or
me
not,
at all.
I found people hiding in closets and
Yeah.
underneath beds, and
Yeah.
they thought they were missing. It's like,
Oh.
nope, they're right here the whole time. You know.
We have no
See,
problem
we had
Yeah.
communication prior to
whatsoever.
her.
Likewise, in return, Jonathan sympathizes with the officers because he used to be one of them.
I used to be on the job too in New York. You know, I know you find crazy stuff like that.
Yeah,
It's just, we literally had their kids for a summer at a time, and then
And by there, I mean
weekends, all of them. And like, if we knew where she was at, we would have been the first ones
We're
to grab
posting
her ass.
stuff trying to find her the same way they are. It's like, are you serious?
Yeah.
Even though we're not speaking.
Naomi is surprised and offended at this suggestion. Even though she's not speaking to her sisters anymore, she's still trying to find Iyana.
So you guys, when was the last time y'all saw her then?
Last time they stayed the night over here, which was before last week in November, we had all four of them over here.
Iyana disappeared on the 19th of December. If the detectives can prove that Jonathan or Naomi saw her anytime between the last week of November and the date she disappeared, there might be something they're hiding.
And still to this day, we
That's
don't
an
know
open case.
what the freak,
That's
we
an
don't know
open case.
what the
So-
hell happened there, because it's all been, this, that, it's never been, nothing has been consistent at
Yeah.
all. So
Yeah.
that's missing, gang.
Man, that's crazy. That's sad. Has she ever done this before? Has she ever gone missing before?
Never,
No?
She's
Okay.
like I told you, all the officers, man, she's complained, always, both of them, they always complain.
This is really interesting because Naomi is saying no, whereas Jonathan is suggesting the opposite. But let me know what you think.
She's always complaining, always complaining. First of all, your mom is your mom. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Your mom loves the hell out of you no matter what. And I always big on my mom. So mom the best mom? Not at all. You know what I'm saying? She comes home.
Still a mom.
Yeah, she's a mom.
You still
You know what I'm saying? We only
yeah.
get one.
Yeah.
But I explained to them, I was like, listen, your situation is fucking awesome compared to my situation growing up. You know what I mean?
Oh, the classic, things are a lot tougher for me than they are for you. And Jonathan keeps suggesting that she had some issues with her mom and she would only confide in him about that, which is quite interesting because all the detectives have to do is cross-check this with other family members. This is also in stark contrast with what Naomi is saying, in which she had no reason to believe that Iyana ran away. Interesting how Jonathan always leans towards the fact that there was a reason that Iyana had to leave, offering multiple possible reasons of what they might be.
Just, stay focused in school.
Iyana was a straight-A student, offered multiple scholarships, on track to graduate early. It's unlikely that she had any difficulties staying focused in school.
Stay focused. You want to get out the house, the right way is, she's doing everything that she needs to do to go ahead and make a transition to, and I was like, that's the best way to go.
Yeah.
I'm stressed. If I check my phone right now with my finger on it, like the Samsung, oh man, that damn thing would be probably all the way to the roof. My ears are hot.
But then the question of her pregnancy came up.
When I asked her about it, she said that she knows who the father was, but she ain't saying.
Oh, she did know?
Yeah, she knows who the father of the child was. But then can't really take anything that she's saying serious because now that she's been gone, all this stuff that's been going around, she's been dealing with this dude and that dude and this other one is something that she was dealing with cousins at the same time. That one's supposed to be the baby father or something. Another one she's dealing with. So I question literally everything.
Jonathan seems to be doing his best to create a convoluted mess around who Iyana's father might be. It could be one guy, another guy, it could be cousins, but as you'll see, no one else seems to have this kind of opinion about her. The next part of the body cam footage has no audio available to the public, but it's likely the police officer told Jonathan that he must bring him in for questioning. With two other officers now joining him, they all walk Jonathan over to the patrol car. Jonathan is nervous the entire time. But I still don't think he realizes what's really in store for him and how much the officers actually know. Because I believe once they arrive at the car, they tell him he's under arrest for suspicion of Iyana's disappearance and are reading him his rights. This entire time, all 3 officers are surrounding him in case he decides to run. But Jonathan is patient. He first hands over his belongings from his left pocket to an officer. Jonathan appears to remove more items and puts it on the trunk of the patrol car. These appear to be his cell phone and his chain. Then he puts his hands on the patrol car whilst another officer pats him down. This officer is then handed over handcuffs from the officer whose camera is on. Jonathan is then handcuffed behind his back and placed in the right side back passenger seat of the police cruiser. They then collect his wallet, his cell phone, and what appears to be a sports earphone at the back of the police cruiser.
So what is
Right now, we're waiting on. All right, so like you said, we got to go through a full-blown investigation. I'm sure you know all about that, man, because there was the allegation, okay? Right. So we're waiting on our sergeant to get a hold of the detective, and once they, because they need every bit of information before they even decide to come down. Okay. So once he gets on the way, we'll go to 501 East Bay, not the jail, but the police memorial building, and they'll interview you there. Okay. Cool. All right.
now as far as coming?
Noticeably, Jonathan is worried. He wants to know what's going on, but more importantly, he wants to know what happens after.
Can I get a ride back home, or I'll just have my wife come and get me?
However you want to do it, man. Honestly.
Naomi is also worried, and she walks over to inquire what's happening to Jonathan. The officer calmly explains the situation.
All right, so we're going to end up taking him down, and he's going to be interviewed by a detective. Okay. Okay. And it all has to be done. We have to have an interview. We can't just let that slide. I mean, he may be innocent, he may not. I don't know. I wasn't there. All that. That's what the detectives are going to try to figure out.
Is there a way that you all do forensics on whatever they presented as evidence to make sure it wasn't just made up?
I'm sure there are, but that's above my head. That's definitely above my head. But
So he'll talk with the detectives, and then once he's finished talking with the detectives, that's when the detectives, they'll move from there as far as okay.
Yep, exactly.
So if there's nothing, how does he get back here?
He actually just asked me.
Now, let's return to the officer who's with Iyana's mom to obtain the files of Iyana's laptop.
You give permission to this officer right here, who has identified himself as a sworn law enforcement officer employed by JSO, to take possession of and with the necessary assistance of a computer forensic examiner and or authorized law enforcement agent to make a full and complete search of my computers, computer peripherals, and related media located at, we're going to have this address.
Pretty much say I did get permission to, take my daughter's laptop.
All right, I'm going to put this in the car, then tonight him.
After this, the officer heads over to another car with a laptop, where Jonathan has already been placed in handcuffs and is waiting inside.
The detective said, not today, man. You don't have to go speak with him.
I appreciate it.
Oh, sorry, man.
Yes, Jonathan is being let go because the detective isn't ready to speak with him yet, but at least they obtained Iyana's laptop.
God, that don't make no sense.
What?
Those are Hades?
Hinge cuffs.
Hinge cuffs.
Yeah.
Didn't they outlaw those things?
No.
Goodness gracious.
No, they recommend these, man.
On December 30th, a new detective assigned to the case, Detective Abbott, who worked homicide, went to speak to Jonathan at his home. When he asked Jonathan about Iyana's disappearance, Jonathan commented that Iyana was missing 38 pairs of Victoria's Secret underwear. The detective thought that was strange for a grown man to say that about his niece. He also learned that Jonathan advertised and sold his 2002 Red Dodge Chrysler a day earlier for only $400. But it was when the detective spoke to Samaya or SS that they really started to look into Jonathan. Samaya wasn't ready to open up at first, but after pressing her, she dropped a bombshell. She was molested by her Uncle John, as was her sister. They referred to him as Jose, and her sister was in love with him. Because their mother worked full-time and Aunt Naomi had a demanding schedule, this would leave them in the care of their uncle, and often they would be expected to babysit his children. Iyana and Samaya kept the secret between themselves, but now it was too late for secrets. First, they examined the CCTV footage of his workplace. This footage is from Jonathan's workplace on the same day that Iyana went missing. He works at Ace Pickup Art. You can see him arriving at work in his red pickup van early in the morning. He's wearing a yellow hard hat and a vest. Around 11:17 a.m., he's seen driving out of the site. What was strange is that he did not clock out, which is against protocol at his work site. Around an hour 15 minutes later, he's returning back, but instead of turning left into work, he heads straight, somewhere off screen. Around 4 minutes go by before he heads back into office. A closer look at his hands show he's holding something. Red tape. Then he walks alongside a tow truck going inside the employee parking lot. After that, he's seen walking towards a pile of tires. After clocking out at 6:06 p.m., he's seen leaving work the same way he arrived. As suspicious as this looked, it wasn't enough. They needed more. And then, the detectives received a crucial phone call early January, which led them to arrest and bring in Jonathan for questioning.
Hey,
Hello.
how are you?
How you doing? I've had better days.
I know, right?
As the questioning begins, the mood is friendly, but that's how these things always go.
Jonathan, Detective Abbott.
Yes, sir.
I don't know if you've met
No, I have not.
Detective
Nice to meet
Mobley.
you.
Likewise.
There's been a lot happened. We need to talk about, okay?
Yeah.
I want to listen to everything you got to say, but naturally I'm going to have questions. Can't really ask those questions unless I go through your rights. And this is a way to protect you, okay? So I want to hear everything you got to say, but I'm going to read your rights first, okay?
Okay.
Of course, the detective says this at the beginning. It's to put Jonathan at ease and to ensure he cooperates throughout the interrogation, because later they will turn up the heat.
Probably a smart thing.
Yeah.
What about any kind of drugs?
No smoke. I don't do any drugs. No.
Okay.
One of the things that we're investigating, what can you tell me about Samaya? Like, why do you think you would be here because of Samaya?
I've been accused many times by the older siblings, the sisters and stuff, that I've been inappropriate with Iyana and
Right.
Maya.
That what would they think is inappropriate?
The first time that it was brought to anybody's attention, they didn't hear it directly from them. I heard it from like a sister, Margie. She mentioned that they think that I was the reason that Iyana was turned out because she got caught having sex with a guy that was over 21 across the street.
He's referring to Kamar Humphrey, the 20-year-old man who lived across the street.
So, but prior to this, we've had complications in the family. My wife has a little bit of, she needs medication to kind of stay level. My wife is pretty blunt. She just doesn't take too much from anybody.
Right.
You know, she loves real deep and she just tries to keep everybody, you know, together. So some things just don't make sense to her because she's very plain Jane. Once my wife was almost happened to get admitted into the hospital, I had it with them. So I could be under a truck, fixing on a truck, and I'll drop what I'm doing to come and help them move or wherever the case may be. Seeing my wife deteriorating the way she was.
He's clearly very nervous and giving all kinds of theories and explanations, anything he can say to get the real questions about Iyana out of the detectives' minds.
I couldn't deal with it no more. So I sent a mass text out to every last one of the sisters and said, listen, you guys got my wife. You have been picking on my wife all this year time. I've been staying out of it because this is a sister matter type of deal. I can't do it no more.
He's making it out that the sisters have an issue with his wife, but really what they have an issue with is him having inappropriate relations with their niece who went missing.
I'm not going to do nothing. You've just been nothing but drama in my life and in my wife's life. I'm keeping my distance from you guys. From that point on, this is about, I want to say about a year, maybe a little bit more than a year ago. I think Jonathan has been inappropriate with Maya and Iyana. Mm-hmm. Now they question them girls separately, together, and it's been he's never been inappropriate with me. And it's, you know, I don't have nothing to hide. You know, I got kids older than them.
Now, if the accusations against him are true, imagine how disgusting and hypocritical these statements are.
And Kim, the mother, she says, listen, I never thought that way, but, you know, and it kind of got brushed under the tables. I still didn't talk to Tweedledee and Tweedledum, which is Jametta and Paul.
As Horndog here claims that the two aunts are just blindly, stupidly after him, I'm more impressed by how patient the detectives are.
And even Maya, they were, she would text me, she'd say, I wish they would stop asking these questions. This is just getting ridiculous. They treat you so wrong. Once that passed and that blew over, everything was good. They're staying the night, weeks on end at the house. We're going fishing together. We're doing pretty much everything. And then from that point,
and this was this past year.
This was
2018.
18, maybe 17 into 18.
Okay.
Then after that, Iyana got caught with, I guess she was late picking up her brother, and her brother squilled on her or whatnot and stated that she was with some boy or whatnot. They went through her phone.
Similar to Iyana, Jonathan claims that her younger sister was seeing a man across the road, but the aunts were blaming him. The problem is, there was no evidence of this man.
And then that turned into, the reason Iyana was doing that was because I had to turn her out.
When you say turned her out.
Oh, I'm sorry. Meaning that I had to introduce her to sex.
So you had full sex with her, is what they're saying.
Pretty much. I had initiated her learning about. And this is the reason why she was running around.
Jonathan then talks about his generosity, how good they have been to Kim and her kids.
I mean, we always help Kim, and she has 4 children. Mm-hmm. She's like almost on a minimum wage salary. Her lights always getting cut off. We always help them feed the kids, take them when she needed a break and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. So she supposedly was on the wall with it, like, oh, hold on. But then again, as time passed, my wife made me aware she never stopped them from, questioning them and stuff like that. But anyway, after that situation happened, they questioned her again, and they questioned both of them again. Did Uncle John ever get fresh with you guys or come out of character or anything like that with you guys? And boom, again, nope.
Guys, if someone is trying so hard to defend themselves before the detectives have even accused them of anything, don't you think something is up?
And Iyana was saying nope.
When was that?
This is the thing. That was definitely in 2018.
So they questioned the second time, and the girl said no.
Said no. Nothing ever. He's never been appropriate. He's only been a father figure to us. Mm-hmm. Now, their real father is just pretty much, he's there, but he's not there type of deal. So, and it was one time, we met her father in the store, and he's like, oh, my princess, and he was just so trying to get out that dang on store to get away from, it was just, he left his keys, he left his phone, like he was just trying to get out that situation. Because where I stood with it was like, okay, your daughter wants to see you. You live just about around the corner. Just come on and see her. I think it was for her birthday or something like that.
Now, what's truly a testament to Iyana in all this is despite this chaos between her mom and her dad and a questionable uncle, she was doing well in school and on track to graduate early.
And she was just so happy. She, and that he's gonna come over. And I had to kind of pull her to the side and say, listen, Iyana, he's not gonna come over. Well, how do you know? And stuff like that. It's just these type of things you kind of know.
Oh, Jonathan is doing his best to portray himself as a good guy, as a caring uncle who took care of his 2 nieces, as a fatherly figure who was there for them when their own dad wasn't.
So the girls would come over to your house and you do like trips to the beach, trips to the
we always the pool we had at the house. Right. We had this is when we lived in 1503 East Lovejoy. I had a tire swing, I had zip lines, I had hammocks. This is all for them, because my daughter was still too young. I had go-karts, it's just a huge backyard, about a half-acre backyard.
As he continues to talk about how great he is, the detective asks him a question to see his reaction. Watch how he initially reacts and then changes later.
But they would stay the night, they'd spend time at your house. And there was
the whole summer.
Anybody accusing you of anything then?
No. And well, after the first time, they stood just about the whole damn summer with us. Mm-hmm. And after the second time that they accused me.
And this is 2018 we're talking about.
This is 2000, second time is 2018. they pretty much was there almost every weekend. They always there watching my daughter. Me and my wife goes out.
How old's your daughter?
My daughter's 4 years old.
Okay.
So just to be clear, Iyana and her sister would visit his home to actually take care of his daughter as well. It was these sleepovers and overnight visits where the aunts were really concerned.
Because at their home, it was mom came from work, boom, that door is closed, and she's doing whatever she's doing behind the doors, and they never got any of that quality time. They didn't have the best of everything.
Right.
We also, we did the lifeguard safety courses. We did all of that, and this and camping and stuff like that. So this was something that I wanted to pass on to them as well. Let me show you how to go with the rip part so you can come back to shore.
So you're doing all these things with the girls.
No, with all of them.
Right, with
all of the kids,
But then they're accusing you of messing with the girls?
Correct. They started real heavy with it when Iyana, that boy across the street.
Mm-hmm. Give me an example of things they think were inappropriate.
Well, I would just say what they were saying, and again, this is not something that they came directly to talk to me about.
Notice how Jonathan has been so defensive this entire time. But when asked about the specifics, he has nothing to say.
So you talked to him on the phone?
Yeah.
So what, did you use Facebook?
Iyana Snapchat. Iyana showed me about Snapchat. Okay. I didn't know nothing about Snapchat. I didn't even know what the hell.
I know. That's their language.
So, that's what she showed me how to do. And then something about score streaks. So you send pictures in the morning and then in the afternoon or whatever. As much pictures as you can send, like selfies or whatever, or even the sky, whatever. You get like a certain score streaks or whatever. I still don't understand that too well. That's what we normally communicated through. And the reason why is because, it kind of sounds like incriminating now, but it's because the message is delete. And there's a lot of things that they come tell me about their moms, about just their everyday struggles being in home because they never wanted to be home. And that was just something that they didn't want their mom, because it's happened before. And I'm pretty sure that's how it happened with the guy across the street, that she done went through her text messages and saw all this here stuff that they were talking about.
There's a lot to break down here. First, he admits it looks incriminating because they're using text messages to send him personal details about their mom and to complain about it. But we all know what Snapchat is really used for. And then he talks about why they're using Snapchat, because their mom found incriminating messages between the girls and the guy across the street, the guy who's actually a 20-year-old man. So that too was an inappropriate relationship. It's interesting how he's weaved this entire story to suit what he's trying to make out.
And also prior to that, she had talking to one of her friends about their living situation, and her mom just went smack the hell off on her,
Which one? Who did she go off on?
Iyana was Iyana, yes, at one point in time had a real tight relationship.
Right.
Where that changed, I cannot put my finger on it, but it changed. And yeah, she got this sense that, mom doesn't care about us. That's both the girls that used to do that. Is mainly she doesn't care about us. All she cares about, Mr. Darius.
Is that her boyfriend?
That's her boyfriend, yeah.
So the aunts are accusing you of this kind of stuff, and you're telling me that Iyana and Samaya,
correct.
both said no.
Correct. That's right. They said nope. That never happened. That he's never been inappropriate with me or anything like that.
Once again, Jonathan keeps insisting that both the girls have feverishly said that he has never been inappropriate with them. But wait till you hear what the detective has to say.
So let me tell you how I got involved with this case, because if that were the case, I wouldn't be involved.
Absolutely.
Right? Because that sounds like a non-starter. Right?
Correct.
So I get involved with the case when they're doing a missing persons report, right? For Iyana, is it? While doing that, they were looking on her computer.
Correct.
And so they're finding stuff on the computer that she's authoring that's implying a sexual relationship with you. Almost like a love affair.
Well, I also read the same thing because Margie took a picture of it and sent it to my wife. And this was
so you
the
saw
first time I did.
Okay.
And
I'm feeling nervous just watching his hands and feet, and I'm not even the one getting interrogated. You can see his body language, how much it changed when she brought up the laptop.
And this is the first time that we were introduced to the police. They came to the house. This is after she ran away.
Okay.
And they came to the house searching for her and through our house.
Right.
So, yes, I also read it, and it was a character
What do you make
named
of that?
Jose. This blew my mind all the way around because it's a lot of stuff in that thing we actually did talk about, about her sister having relations with her boyfriend and stuff like that. So there's a lot of stuff that is there that makes sense, and then there's other stuff that is like, wait a minute, that doesn't make sense at all. This is not something that we've ever talked about.
Some of it almost it's pertaining to your house or your home because there was like 4 pages. But Samaya is also mentioned in there as well.
Correct.
So that's how I met with Samaya.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you think Samaya would tell me if I asked her about those 4 pages?
Well,
her simple question is about to turn his world upside down because it contradicts everything he's been saying about the 2 girls defending him. Listen closely to how nervous he sounds right now.
For what I was made aware, Samaya was agreeing that the Jose character was me.
Correct.
And she's mentioned that was me, and like I explained to my wife, and I also got a text message from, I'm thinking it was Samaya, but my niece doesn't talk like that, through the text message. I mentioned the person that whoever was text messaging me, Maya, what the hell, pretty much what's going on, because at first, I have a daughter named Maya. At first she, and the message started like,
He's so nervous, he even brought his own daughter into it. Anything he can to help explain himself out of this mess.
Are you mad at me? This is something Adobe phone. I don't know. I don't know what the hell that meant. It's like an Adobe phone. I still got a text message in my phone. And it mentioned, she says, are you mad at me? And then I says, hey, baby, how you doing? This, how was your summer vacation? Your Christmas vacation and stuff like that. Why would I be mad at you? And then she put, because I told. And I'm like, hold on. Who is this? Is this my daughter or this is my niece?
Right.
And she mentioned this is my niece. This is your niece Maya. And I said, hold on, baby. I can't talk to you. You got these people thinking that I'm some monster. I'm a monster over here.
Wow, it's almost like an admission of guilt. First, he says the messages were misunderstood. He thought they were coming from his own daughter. Maybe that's why he used the word baby. But then when he found out they were from his niece, he said, stop, you're trying to make me look bad.
I told him, because this is what I also told the police. I told the police that they most likely forced her to say whatever they wanting her to say. Her mom, my nephew, and her used to date. Technically, my cousin.
What's his name?
His name is I'm sorry.
That's
I'm having
okay.
a blank. Yeah, I'm just.
He's your cousin. Is he from Florida?
Yeah, he's here in Florida.
Okay.
He's here in Florida. His name is Kenneth. Kenneth Berry.
Berry?
Berry.
Barr.
I think Berry.
Okay,
yeah.
so they used to date with who?
Samaya.
Samaya. Okay,
So, and this it may not sound relevant right now, but it is very relevant. Her youngest brother, Kyrie, supposedly caught them on the rocks
Samaya's youngest brother.
Correct. Caught Samaya and Kenneth on the rocks is literally right across the street. You see, it's just wide open. Having.
Oh wow.
Yes.
Okay. And when was this?
This was, I want to say, you can't quote me on it. I'll say maybe a few months ago. It wasn't.
Okay.
It's just fairly fresh.
2018.
Fairly fresh. And
later part of the year.
The detectives are noting down all names, times, and places to cross-check later.
And my wife was like, Samaya just admitted to it.
When it comes to details, he only seems to remember other people's.
I just spoke to my grandmother today, or if not yesterday. She told me the story, and also my aunt also said the same thing too. And that's just kind of scary. She said Samaya came one day to school. She met up with him. Her face was super swollen, like as if she got beat up, and she gave him a letter. And the letter pretty much was, "I'm sorry, my mom forced me to admit that I had with you. I know it never happened.
She said it didn't happen.
It never happened. It was like, okay, mind blowing, you know.
Right.
And Samaya told me this about her cousin, which was goodness, what the hell is his name? Freaking hell, Elijah. Supposedly he was molesting her since about 5 to 7 years old until to about 2000 and beginning of 2018.
So I know about Elijah because that case was handled with us.
Correct.
So, and then what happened to Elijah? Because he's like off the grid.
Yeah, the sisters, Paula was, Paula mentioned to my wife once the Kenneth thing happened. She says, this doesn't make any sense. And I truly think that she made that story up with Elijah as well. Because, and this is how it's been happening. Iyana gets in trouble for something. Maya comes up with something. Like something happens with Maya. Iyana gets in trouble with something. Maya comes something. Yeah, is like she needs attention in some form, and I hate to say that, I really do.
Right.
But so far, that's kind of how things has been playing out.
So now his explanation is both girls are simply liars, and they falsely accuse men and boys of inappropriate relations to cover up for each other.
That has been the track record thus far. Iyana is missing. She ran away or whatnot. Now here I am sitting in the hot seat because Maya is mentioning me as that I was, I'm Mr. Jose.
Notice how, according to him, he's in the hot seat and he's the victim here. At the same time, he doesn't seem to have any concern for where Iyana might be. A few minutes ago, he was the fatherly figure in her life.
So, do you know who she ran away with?
I don't. My wife asked me, when was the last time we had conversation with Iyana? And I think she gave you a date. And this is I guess, yeah. So that's the only time I've known her to leave, the sisters, that she didn't show up after school or whatnot. And that's what it's been. I've been expecting Iyana to call me, text me, anything. Snapchat me, smoke signal.
How often do you usually speak with the girls?
The girls, I speak with Maya and Iyana just almost about every day. Yeah, just about every day. What's
your Snapchat name?
My name. We speak just about all the time. And
Jonathan or?
Yeah, Jonathan. Jonathan J. Quiles, I think it is. And we speak all the time. Now, like I mentioned before, they weren't happy. We even was setting up for them to live with us. In 1503 East 16th Street, they were actually entertaining the dining room. We were going to close it off, put a TV in, try to get mom to be okay with it. And her only objectives was, I'm claiming taxes on them. I'm not saying that she's a bad mother. She's very young. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying that these girls need attention, and the attention wasn't there, so we were just trying to pull them into our life.
Again, he makes the mother look bad whilst talking about what great things him and Naomi were trying to do for the girls.
You know why Samaya would tell me that you had sex with her?
I have no idea. No.
You don't?
No.
Okay.
Not at all.
Because she's saying that you had sex with her and that she did not want to have sex with you.
That is absolutely absurd. No. Okay. I've never, ever got it out of line with the girls, never got inappropriate with the girls. If anything, I've always been trying to educate them on these stupid boys that's out here that's all about, because Maya really, her self-esteem is this big. Right. And if you know anything about younger girls and self-esteem, you see exactly what I'm talking about.
It's a little disturbing to think that he's so self-aware and manipulative that pretty much all of these things he's talking about, he's used it to his own advantage. And if you clicked on this video, you must have figured it out by now.
Every time I tell her how pretty, how beautiful she is, I let her know that, listen, you keep your head strong. And the same thing about Elijah situation, because she told me.
As Jonathan continues to babble along, I am impressed by the extraordinary patience of the detectives.
With her, she was the one that confided to me, you know what I'm saying? And I coached her to expressing this to mom, telling them about it and stuff like that. Only have ever just been, you need to keep your head up. You're a straight A student. You're gorgeous. You don't need to settle for, nonsense.
Yes, nonsense. The same thing Jonathan seems to be offering right now. Why would you be speaking to your nieces and telling them they're gorgeous? I feel at this point, Jonathan feels the detectives are going to bring up more incriminating questions, and he's trying to explain it before they bring it up.
Mm-hmm. And that's all it's been. I've never, ever, ever got out of line with this girl. Ever.
Okay. So there would be no reason to have any of your DNA.
Nope, not at all. In fact, if anything, you guys took my DNA at the house, correct?
So neither girl would have your DNA.
Nope.
So if I were to tell you that I found some underwear that had your DNA in it, how would you explain that?
I would say that is not, that there's no way in shape in any form.
Okay.
Yeah, there's no way.
Jonathan.
Okay.
We interrupt this video for a quick word from our sponsors. Wait, we have no sponsors. So give this video a thumbs up, subscribe, and check out some merchandise on the official website, crimesanatomy.com. Let's get back to the video. Now, when the detective sitting across the room, who has been quiet for 99% of the time, says your name in a calm voice, you fucked up.
There's no doubt that you're a good guy.
Mm-hmm.
You're a stand-up guy. You take care of your family. You take care of your family's family. I have no doubt about that. Okay. I have no doubt you try to be a father figure. I have no doubt you try to be a positive influence on those girls. No doubt in my mind. Okay. No doubt at all. It's obvious that you love those girls like they're your own. I can see your face light up.
Yeah.
Nice and bright when you talk about them because you love them like they're your own,
Correct.
And I don't doubt that for a second. Okay.
So this is a great example of a psychological interrogation tactics that detectives use, where they appeal to this inner voice and defense mechanisms of the suspect. Because for most people, including those who have committed the most heinous crimes, they will still see their character as justifiable. And by agreeing with the suspect in what they're saying, it's an attempt to get them to open up. And that sense of relief, where they no longer have to hide or lie, is how the detectives plan on obtaining a confession.
But I also know there's a reason why your DNA came back to Samaya's kid. Or Iyana. I'm sorry.
Iyana.
I'm sorry. I get the two mixed up all the time.
He's talking about Iyana. So with the case across the street, there was a kit done.
Correct.
And she was wearing specific clothes to include underwear.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she told me that was one of her biggest pet peeves, that they took her underwear from her.
Okay.
So they're referring to the essay kit that Kimberly got done when she found out that 20-year-old Kamar Humphrey across the road was sleeping with her daughter. Iyana was only 15 at the time. When the results came back, they also found Jonathan's DNA in her underwear.
That wasn't my DNA. That I didn't.
100%.
No way.
It's DNA. Yeah.
I'm not saying you're a monster. I don't think you're a monster at all. Okay? I think maybe they came on to you and things went a little too far. It happens all the time. Okay, did you know the age of consent in Florida is 16?
Yeah.
Were you aware of that?
No. Not at all.
It's 16. But what happened. It's done. It's over with. The main focus right now is trying to locate Iyana. Okay.
I don't know where Iyana is at. I have no idea where to find her. She never told me anything about running away. And I can't give you any information I don't have about her. Period.
Did you know that truck number 7 picked up the rollaway garbage on December 20th from the landfill?
No, I don't know what truck number. What are you talking about as far as?
The large container that takes about a week to fill up.
Oh, and
At your work.
At your work.
Oh, I don't know what trucks pick them.
Yeah, truck 7 picked up the garbage that day.
Okay.
Do you know where they took it?
I would assume I work for the garbage company, probably landfill. I guess, yeah. It's either
specific where they take it. Like everywhere. It's amazing with the landfill how they have everything gridded out.
Mm-hmm.
Like to the T.
Okay.
Everyone can see how nervous and exposed Jonathan is, so the female detective applies more pressure to make him more uncomfortable and seeking that relief that he so much desires. His legs are shaking, his hands are held tight, he knows he's had. It's just a matter of time now.
If this table were in the middle of that landfill, they could find it for me. That's
Like I
how
said,
fast.
I don't think you're a bad guy.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think you love your whole family. I think you worry about Naomi. I think you
That's
worry
all
about
right.
Mia.
Yes, yeah.
I think you worry about your son.
Mhm.
I think you have a lot of things on your shoulder. And I think your mother raised you correctly.
Absolutely. This is why I'm as long as I'm living now.
Right.
Yeah.
Take us through exactly what happened.
With what? Are you? I mean, what are you guys implying?
So
Let's
listen,
just put it out on the table. For me.
we are telling you
Mhm.
that we know where the contents of that bin went. And you're sitting in here, and we even know the truck number.
Yeah. Look through it. I mean, I have nothing.
No, we're here to discuss the day that was filled up.
Yeah.
We're here to discuss the contents of the dumpster at your work.
Yeah, this whatever goes through, whatever comes out the vehicles usually go into a yellow bin, and then from there it gets dumped into times the tire guys on the concrete plant. They have blue basket or whatnot. It'll get dumped into.
So I'm
yellow
in here
bin.
discussing with you. Who am I discussing with you? Not car parts, right?
So you're
We're
trying.
talking about Samaya, Iyana.
Okay.
Okay. So
We've talked to a lot of people. We've done a lot of research.
Mm-hmm.
We've done everything, okay? Because we were trying to find her. So we're looking into everything. We're turning over every stone because that's what her family deserves.
Yes.
All right. It's time to bring them closure. It's time to get through this. And it's time to put all this out on the table. All right.
I wish I could help you. I don't have any information as far as the whereabouts of Iyana, and as far as the DNA you guys talking about, that is, I mean,
there's no argument.
yeah, I can understand that, but I mean,
But you understand, like I wouldn't bring you in here if that wasn't 100%. Because that would be like the craziest fishing expedition.
The next phase of the interrogation has started. Confrontation. She leans closer and takes away even more personal space. Jonathan is definitely feeling the heat.
Listen to me, honey, look me in the face. I would never bring you in here if I did not have that DNA 110%. Because I would know that I was fishing in the dark, and I don't fish in the dark. Ever. Ever. I think you are a genuinely kind person. And I say that sincerely. I just look at me.
I'm looking at you.
I don't fish in the dark, my dear.
Okay.
I've been doing this so long. Long in the tooth. And I'm telling you right now, I did not bring you in here to go fishing in the dark either. So don't insult me.
I'm
Listen,
not insulting you at
Don't
all.
insult me with the DNA because I'm 100% on that. She had your DNA, male semen, in her underwear. Do you understand?
Yeah, I
Okay,
hear
so-
what you're saying, but
So
that's no
I'm
way.
just saying, no, there's 100%.
It's
No,
way.
no. Because either I'm lying
Yeah.
or it's 100%, and I'm telling you it's 100%.
Yeah.
That is something that I would never do in my business, in what I do. And let me tell you why. I have a policy on that. Because when I do what I do, because I'm special assault, that's what I do. Right?
Mhm.
If I go in a room and I say, yeah, I found your DNA, and they know their DNA couldn't be there,
Yeah.
see, I'm fishing in the dark, I'm swatting at flies. And there's no sense in doing that because it backfires every time. And when I train other detectives, I tell them, don't you go in there and bullshit about DNA because it either is or isn't. And if you don't know, then shut your mouth. That's where I'm at. I'm not shutting my mouth. The DNA's there. Now, I don't know how it got there in her underwear, so I'm not going there,
Yeah.
but I'm just telling you. There'd be no other reason for her DNA to be there, right? But that's neither here nor there as to what we're talking about, because whatever's in her underwear isn't going to bring closure to her family, now is it? So I'm willing to shelf that for now. We'll shelf that one. But understand, Say what you want about Kim. She's devastated.
And then the detective calls him out on what we've always wanted to, giving the mother's children a hard time.
Because the child she birthed from her womb is missing. And her soul is dying. And her children cry. And I can't tell you how much we've put up with the crying. It's overwhelming them. They deserve better. They deserve better. Naomi deserves better. Your family deserves better. You were raised to be a quality person.
And that I am.
And they deserve to know the truth.
Yeah. I'm laying it all out for you. I'm laying it all out for you guys. I mean, you say you got DNA on me. I mean, I'm not trying to insult you.
Listen, that has nothing
or anything
to do.
like that.
Has nothing
You're
to do
implying about a dumpster or whatnot at the job as if I had something to do with Iyana's disappearance, and this is what you guys are pushing towards me. You know, but you're not saying it. I mean, you're kind of beating around the bush with it. Just tell me what you guys are implying. You're implying that I had something to do with Iyana's disappearance and then and possibly being a dumpster. Is that where this is going right now?
This is the only time I have to give credit to Jonathan, because I do believe he handled the situation quite well. By calling the detectives out on exactly what they're doing, he took some of that power away, and you can see they're a bit surprised by the way he confronted them.
We believe you're responsible for her disappearance, yes.
Okay.
And listen, there's a lot of things that can overwhelm people. You get backed in a corner, you get overwhelmed.
That small win dramatically improved Jonathan's body language. He appears calm and composed.
Your wife's on bed rest. Is she on bed rest?
Correct.
That is a very, very tense time.
It's not the first time.
Yeah, but it's a tense time.
Yeah.
Right? It's not a relaxing day at the house every day because it's stressful for her every day. Yeah, because you want to do stuff and you can't.
My wife and I we have no issues whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
My wife and I have no problems. I mean, we've in the first year of our marriage has been hectic. Other than that, we've been two peas in a pie. So you can't bring my wife into any of this.
Jonathan appears in control of the situation, enough that he can tell the detectives straight, you cannot bring my wife into this. I do feel they lost control here. Maybe it's time for a change of strategy.
How many months is your wife pregnant?
My wife is about to give birth.
And how far along was Iyana?
I don't know. The last
5 going on 6
the last we checked, 5 months or something like that.
That's stressful. It's stressful. That would be stressful.
Yeah.
For both of them.
I wouldn't know anything about Iyana being stressed about any baby, because when she finally let anybody know about her being pregnant, she was over 5 months already.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I didn't know. That was just as shocked as her mother.
And you read the diary?
I'm sorry?
You read the diary.
I just read only the the pages that was given to my wife.
How would you surmise that diary?
As a girl that had a vivid imagination.
Who was in love.
Yeah, and you know what? Iyana's track record with boys is not.
Yeah.
You know, it's pretty intensive with her falling in love with people.
And the thing about the diary, it was written over from 2017 through 2018, and the same love was the same love the whole time, and it wasn't the kid across the street.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Mm.
You know,
she's pretty. You're handsome. Let's just not even beat around the bush. And she's very clear. And this is a diary that she goes back to over periods of time. So for a fantasy, it's a fantasy she's been repeating for over a year. And guess who's the topic of her fantasy?
Jose.
Jose, you. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
100%.
No.
So I also talked to Samaya.
By confronting him about the diary, the detective seems to have won back control. And you can see from his body language, he's nervous again.
I won't be surprised if they forced her to say that.
No, she didn't look forced when I was talking to her.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
When I made everybody leave, like we had a conversation.
Yeah.
You know, Samaya is a quiet person. But
this is crazy, dude. I'm like,
is not,
this is like, wow.
She is not as quiet as she is. She's a very dominant person, which is unusual. She has like a quiet power. And I don't think you can get somebody to do crap if you don't want her to.
It's been proven that she was easily manipulated by her mother.
Yeah, she didn't strike me as manipulated.
Once again, he starts insulting others, saying they've been manipulating Samaya, but the only one really manipulating the girls has been him all along.
One thing I know is that she told her mom one story, but when I had her, we had another understanding. Cut the crap. And then she laid some stuff out with me that would just embarrass the hell out of her. Like stuff you don't want to say about yourself that she admitted to me that we're not complimenting to her. But her mom wasn't in the room, so I let her do that. I gave her respect. But she said things that weren't nice about herself. And that's when you know someone's being genuine, because they cut the shit and they just say it like it is, because it is what it is. Sometimes you just got to put it on the table. It's like ripping a Band-Aid off or jumping in a cold pool. You just got to go for it, or you'll be tiptoeing all day long. And we can tiptoe, Jonathan, all day long. And we discussed the diary, and she was clear about the diary. She said Iyana's a jealous girl. Who was she jealous of? And she was real clear. She was jealous of you. I mean, one word from you, one Snapchat from you, and she's in a tailspin. And that's, you know what? As a female, I can tell you, that's what first loves do. They're your most deep love of all. I can tell you about my first love, the most intense. That's when you're like crazy love. You do anything for them. If they say hop in the car, you hop in the car. If they want to take you for a ride, you just go. If you want to just quit school and go live in New York, well, you'll just go do it. Because you're crazy in love and you're not even thinking rational. It's like watching someone play house, really. Now, I say that as an older woman, but I got to tell you, when I was her age, it would have made perfect sense. You fall in love and you think, oh, we're going to go get a house. And I'm not even thinking about how we're going to make a living, or that I'm underage, or that I don't have my education. That's how crazy love is when you're crazy in love. You're very gullible. And she was madly in love for over a year. Over a year.
I'm sorry.
And then I have DNA. Then I have DNA in the pants that will not go away. I wouldn't be this calm. I would be working you over a little bit more.
The detective lays it all out there and pushes for a confession because they know the facts speak for themselves. It's not a matter of if he did it, it's a matter of how.
Because at this point, Detective Abbott and I are more concerned with more pressing issue. Okay, and notice we're not looking for Iyana. Yeah. We're saying closure for the family.
I don't have any deal with Iyana's disappearance, and that's just what it's gonna be. I'm sorry. And you guys are charging me with...
No. I'm not charging you with that. I have an accusation from Samaya, okay, that's very descriptive. So I'm not charging you at this point with anything with Iyana.
So
I'm wanting closure.
I can't give you any closure that I can't give you any closure. I have nothing to do with. I'm sorry. I wish I can help you. I can't.
I think you absolutely could if you wanted to.
No, I can't.
I know this sucks. There's no way to turn back the time. What happened. We know that.
That's.
I just need you to tell me what happened.
I can't give you anything that I don't know anything about. I can't give you anything. I understand, you guys got a job to do or whatnot, but you are looking at the wrong person. I have nothing to do with that girl disappearing whatsoever. Now, Samaya, in that situation, you will figure out that this is all bogus, and I have nothing to do with this either.
That may be the case.
Yeah.
But I don't think I'm looking at the wrong guy.
Well, I'm sorry, then you know what? You just guys got to charge me for whatever you got to do, unless...
It's highly unlikely that an innocent person would give up so easily. He knows the longer this takes, the more guilty he looks. And as he's made up his mind not to admit anything, he'd rather go to jail than to prolong this interrogation any longer. Oh, but the detectives aren't ready to put him out of his misery just yet.
And you have any other questions for me? Or
do you want water?
My way? I don't need no water. Right now, I'm just beyond baffled that I'm a person of interest in the disappearance of my niece. Also, what you're saying here as far as DNA goes, there's no way. You say that...
100%
okay,
DNA.
You say that you guys got my DNA, and I'm saying there's no fucking way that you guys got my DNA, because I've never, ever been disrespectful to my wife or to any of these girls whatsoever.
What an absolute snake. And this is a reminder never to judge someone based on what they say. Always look at their actions instead. The way he speaks so confidently Doing the exact opposite of what he says shows us how dangerous and manipulative he really is.
Give us a moment. You sure you don't want water?
I'm good. I just, whenever you guys are done with me, I can go. That'll be great.
All right.
Thank you.
As you can see, when both the detectives left the room, they asked him for water. This is a commitment tactic they use, where if Jonathan agrees to something small, he's more likely to open up and admit to something bigger. The main homicide detective, who was sitting at the far right, comes back in and takes on a lead role.
This is my partner, Detective Guthrie. We're almost done. All right, just bear with me. I just want to run through this timeline one more time, just so I can make sure I got all my facts straight. Okay, so tell me again.
Say about what? What am I telling you?
Okay. When did all this start? When did you first find out she was missing? Without all the stuff in between.
The day that she didn't come home from school.
Okay, what day was that?
I couldn't tell you. I'm not good with dates.
So you're thinking Wednesday, Thursday of whatever week that was.
Yeah.
When was it that you first talked to your brother?
I think it was the day after she didn't come home.
Okay.
Yeah.
So she didn't come home the 19th, so it would have been
20th.
the 20th. And that's Joseph, right? Same last name, Quiles?
Quiles.
Okay. When did you talk to him again?
Anywhere from 3 to 4 days after that.
Was it after Detective Guthrie and I came out and talked to you?
Yes, that's correct, yeah.
Okay, so we came out on Sunday, what was it, 30th? And what conversation was that with him on the 31st?
Prior to him calling me, I was speaking to my pastor, and I was pretty much expressing the concern and stuff like that I had with Iyana not coming home.
Why would you talk to your pastor about that? I mean, he doesn't seem like he's involved with it.
Oh, well, he's not involved, but my wife is super pregnant. She's high risk. She's already stressed on her own. And from the last pregnancy, it's just only anything that can have her prematurely go into the hospital. We have to take last time almost a month in the hospital.
So when your wife's due date?
The 28th. Like I said, you can't quote me on. Yeah, this month.
Jonathan continues to babble, so the detectives try a new tactic to see if he will protect his wife from becoming a suspect, and at least confess if she had nothing to do with it.
We're asking you questions about the disappearance, and you said my wife is absolutely has nothing to do with this.
What do you mean?
Well, you were saying that's what you told us. You're like, my wife doesn't know anything about her disappearance. She's not involved with her disappearance.
I never said anything.
You didn't say that to us?
No. It was never a question for me to even say anything like that.
Well, we were asking about you and your wife, and and where she went. Because I said, who took her? Where did she go? What do you know about that?
Yeah, and we don't.
And you said me and my wife.
We don't know
doesn't
nothing
know anything
about that.
that.
Correct. Me and my wife doesn't know anything about her disappearance.
Do you realize because it's your wife, and also because she's pregnant, she seems to kind of be the dominant role in your marriage, that it's also a possibility we've considered that she put you up to something?
No.
And that we also need to talk to her too, and we need to bring her down here and talk to her also as a suspect.
You don't even have to do any of that. You can talk to her at the house. I mean, like I said, that wasn't you. I talked to the other guy. You guys could have called me. I would have came in here willingly to talk to you guys. We have nothing to do with the disappearance of Iyana Sawyer. We have nothing to do with it at all, whatsoever.
What do you think your wife's going to say when we ask her those questions?
She's going to say the same thing.
Are you sure?
Don't bother.
Because everybody else is saying that you are.
Yeah. And it's just unfortunate, but that's not the truth. Like I keep on expressing over and over.
I know you do, but I also understand that this is a very difficult thing to talk about, and I know that it would be a very difficult thing. I understand that, one, admitting to yourself is bad enough. Admitting to someone else something crazy like this, it's hard to admit that you can be capable of doing something so crazy, but it happens.
Not in this case, man. I'm telling you, not in this case. I have nothing to do with Iyana's disappearance whatsoever. You guys could comb through their yard. You guys could go through all the video thing, and they will exclude me from your guys' investigation. Now, as far as Samaya goes, you will see how many times she changes her story, and you see how unreliable her word is.
He continues to discredit Samaya, but then he says something which might be his inner dialogue speaking up.
Being the monster, but I'm not.
She never said you were a monster. And I also made that clear. I don't even think you're a monster.
Yeah.
I think people make mistakes. It happens. And we got to deal with it.
Yeah, I agree. But
if you fuck up,
yeah,
you got to deal with the consequences. Yeah. And it's always going to be that way.
I understand that. Like I said, I have nothing to do with Iyana's disappearance at all. At all, whatsoever.
And then Jonathan reveals that he possesses knowledge of who tipped off the police. Could that explain why he seems so well prepared for this interrogation?
I know you guys got a call from my brother. He told me that he was going to call you guys.
Why would he give us this story?
See, like I explained to the officers that was here, when after I got off the phone with my pastor and I was talking to him and just pretty much, just venting pretty much to him on how worried I am about Iyana. She's always, never once that she's ever said I'm gonna run away or did anything like that. Just always she was gonna finish school. She's in high scholarship programs and everything is in school, and she's gonna graduate early, move out the house that way. It's never been that she's just gonna haul ass one day out of the blue. So that freaking bothered me, and I was expressing that to my pastor. And then after that, my brother called me, and I was speaking to him and pretty much giving him the rundown on what all this is happening and all that. And then I also mentioned to the pastor about the allegations about this possibly being my baby and all that dear stuff. And I also said the same thing to my brother. And his thing was like, all right, so then where is she? Where is she? And me being sarcastic is like, yeah, I got her tied up in the backyard.
When he's talking about his backyard, he's referring to his workplace, not his home yard.
I don't know what part of that he grasped onto and kept on that he couldn't sleep at night and he couldn't eat at night. Because had he have called me...
Yes, his brother had difficulty eating and sleeping because he actually has a conscience, and you'll see after Iyana disappeared how well Jonathan slept. And if he really cared about her as a fatherly figure that he claims to be, he wouldn't have slept so well at night.
You talk to your pastor because you're worried about your niece.
Correct.
We don't know where she's at. We don't know if she's alive.
I'm pretty sure that she's alive and she's well. Whoever
you
she's
still think
with.
that after all this time?
Absolutely. Because
so
I know you guys are saying, you guys are saying that all this here stuff, the dumpster and all that, but like I'm telling you, I have nothing to do with that. So my in the back of my head is she ran away and she's with whoever she ran away with and she's doing great. Because that's what keeps me going, not all the other allegations that you guys are coming up with.
Because you're upset about her being gone.
Absolutely.
Because you're worried about the allegations.
Well, I wasn't worried about the allegations because I was just telling them I said it, right. And
Right. Then why in the hell would you joke to your brother about her being tied up in the backyard or the job site?
Yeah, I didn't.
Why would you go into great detail?
No, and I didn't go into any details. This is why when you're saying
you did go into great detail because there's no way in hell that your brother would know those details, and there's no way in hell
I'm telling you, I don't know.
Him, he would be able to.
The video chat. This is where you guys are messing up.
The detectives aren't messing up at all because they have actual witness statements from his brother of exactly how Jonathan did what he's accused of. It's the specifics of what Jonathan did, how he planned this whole thing out for months, how he lured Iyana, how he killed her, and how he processed her body after.
Video chat is something when he first swapped over from an iPhone to the Android, he was able to video chat again. So I work on a lot of the loaders. I do the excavator, I do. I'm all around guy over there. So and it's still in the damn loader itself. I got my phone case to be held there, and I video chat, and I took him around the whole yard. So he knows what's everything at all around the yard. He's seen it, you know what I mean? So
his brother is in New York, and despite never being to Florida, he can describe exactly the yard in vivid detail. That's why the detectives ask him this next.
Other than being on the phone, he's never seen that property.
That property, no. Not that I'm aware of.
Has he ever been to your new house?
No.
Trout River Drive?
No.
But even with those video chats, what I'm getting at, there ain't no way.
He's got way too many details.
Way.
Yeah, I like I said,
he has firsthand knowledge of this.
Yeah, I don't know how he came up with any of these details that you guys are
What has he got to benefit from for calling us?
And you know, I don't know that. And when I spoke to my aunt today, you know, that's what I asked, like, what was the benefit of him, you know, calling and doing all that? I mean, I know he said that he couldn't sleep at night and do all that, but it's like, wait a minute. You could have talked to me when you spoke to, if you was feeling that way, you could have spoke to me after like the third day or the fourth day when I spoke to him about you guys.
What you told him is tough to stomach. And it's a tough thing to live with, given that he also has a daughter. And he wouldn't want nothing bad to happen to her, just like you wouldn't want nothing to happen to your daughter.
Yeah, I understand.
And you also understand people make mistakes.
This doesn't have nothing to do.
Well, if this isn't a mistake, then what is it?
I said this doesn't have nothing to do with me at all. That I'm not saying anything about any mistakes. I'm saying this right here, her disappearance, her running away, has nothing to do with me at all. Flat out, man.
This is your opportunity to come clean. It makes no sense what you were telling us. None whatsoever.
You guys, once you finish sweeping the yard, once you guys do all your investigation work, and you guys will see that I have nothing to do with this at all. I'm telling you.
What do you think your wife's going to say when we bring her in here and talk to her?
I'm pretty sure she's going to give you exactly what I'm giving you guys.
What do you think she's going to say when I tell her that Iyana's DNA or your DNA is in her underwear?
I'm pretty sure she's not going to believe it.
I'm here to tell you, scientifically proven, 100%. We're not bullshitting you on this case.
Your wife is going to go into self-preservation mode. That's what she's going to go into. She's got a baby on the way. She's got your young daughter, 4 years old. I have to bring this up by having to drop a fucking bomb in her lap. And that bomb is the DNA. We don't want to have to do that, okay? But this is a conversation we're going to have with her. And there's going to be a lot of stuff coming out that she might not normally say. Okay.
I know. I mean, I really don't want you guys to drag her all the way over here.
We don't have a choice.
But if, like I said, if you guys have to drag her over here and give her, you know, the same speech that you guys are giving me.
It's not a speech.
I mean, it's
not a speech. It's evidence.
This is a heartfelt conversation. This is, bro, we know what you did. It's over. It's over. I know you tried hard to hide this. You did everything you could, and you failed. Did she threaten you?
Iyana never.
Did she threaten to tell your wife? Or
my wife
get you in trouble?
No, my wife was the one that told me about the pregnancy.
Despite mounting evidence, Jonathan will not budge, and then he starts blaming Iyana as well.
She was weird. She was acting weird. My wife noticed it almost immediately. And she's never in the room, you know, like that. She never isolates because she's always in the front with Jaco or always in my son's place. Now we started recalling like little things that were going on, like she was always hungry or she was always throwing up. You know what I'm saying? We didn't know anything. We never put two and two together.
She didn't want you to. She didn't want your wife to know.
Oh well, no. I didn't know. I don't know what is going on with this girl at all. No way. I'm telling you, there's no way.
There is a way.
It's your sperm.
Scientifically proven.
There's no way.
Do you think we're bullshitting about that?
I really do.
We're not.
I really do. Yeah.
I'm sorry, sir. We are not bullshitting.
Yeah.
To stop this nonsense, one of the detectives calls him out outright and gives him a straightforward explanation of why he did it.
I think you got a lot to lose. I think that the fact that she could potentially be pregnant by you, and you know that, has you on edge. I think the fact that her family was 100% okay. They didn't want her to be pregnant at 16 years old, but the fact that she, hang on.
Yeah.
fact that she is pregnant, her family would support her 110%. What they won't support is the fact that finding out you are that child's father. Who has the most to lose in this family right now?
So then answer me this.
Jonathan tries to take control and interrupt, but they shoot him down right away.
Who has the most to lose?
I not me, because I don't have nothing to do with the situation here. Now, answer me this. I make good money. Why wouldn't I be able to, if, in fact, that let's just play around with this theory. If, in fact, that me and Iyana had a relationship going on and stuff like that, and she was to happen to get pregnant, why wouldn't I pay for an abortion?
Because she can't get an abortion in the state of Florida at 16 years of age. Unless you take her to some fucking fucked up backdoor alley and rake that shit out with a coat hanger. Or is that?
I didn't know that. No, I didn't know that. Because when I was growing up, my first baby mother, Samantha Morales,
you can do
she's had so that's where I was going with that.
Okay.
Yeah, in New York, you're
we've looked it up too.
Freaking 15 years old.
We've looked up everything.
Yeah.
Okay.
We've done our research. It's
when I say we turned over every stone, we have turned over every stone. And we wouldn't call you in here, and we wouldn't talk to you, and we wouldn't give you the benefit of the doubt to tell us the truth if we hadn't turned over every stone. We're not fucking around. We're not lying to you. This isn't TV. We don't make shit up. Tell us. Tell us.
I don't have anything to tell you guys. I don't have anything to tell you guys. When your facts come back, all of it is going to point in different ways. It's not going to point to me.
Which facts?
Who do you think it's going to point to?
I have no idea. That has nothing to do with me at all.
I think it has everything to do with you.
Well, slowly but surely, every fact has come back to you. When we came out to your house on the 30th, we asked you for DNA because we wanted to test it against that kit she had in March. Okay, those things take forever to test. We put a rush on it. We tested it against yours. And the dude across the street. Came back to both of you. His and yours.
There's no way, man. I'm telling you. There's no way.
I'm not bullshitting you, man.
I feel kind of bullshitted, bro, because there is no way that DNA would come back to me. Period.
How did it get there?
I have no idea. I've never had any sexual contact with any of these girls. I never got ever inappropriate with them. And I mean, there's one time that I call Samaya a hoe. It was like, whatever, hoe. And that was it. And she flipped the hell out. That was the only time that I've ever called any of them out of their name, let alone be inappropriate with them. So when I'm telling you, you saying the DNA came back with me and him, that is just way.
I'm going to ask you a few questions, and these may sound very bizarre and out of left field. Okay, don't be offended by this. Have you ever worn her underwear?
No.
Does your wife and her share underwear?
No. My wife would never wear,
And you would never wear your niece's panties?
No, never.
Okay. Would they even fit?
I couldn't tell you. She's real skinny side.
Do you see where we're going with this?
I do. At
the end of the day, there is no reason your DNA, you're the only person that can have your DNA. There's no reason your DNA should be anywhere inside her underwear. Period.
Do you know what dropout is?
No.
It's where you have semen inside a woman's vagina and gravity kind of drops out.
Yeah, I get it, but it's not mine, man.
It is yours. That's the problem. The reality is the fact that you're going to deny it.
Both the detectives checked their phone at the same time. It's likely they received a text message from outside telling them to wrap up. This guy isn't going to admit anything, but they have enough evidence on him to charge him.
It's not like I just touched him and my DNA's on there. It is sperm DNA from you that's on her underwear. And you just told me there is no possible way, with the questions he asked you, that your DNA should be inside of her underwear. Period. 100%.
100%.
Well, guess what it is? And I'm serious, honest to God. God is my witness. I will come in here and put a Bible on this table and put my hand and swear. The fact is, your DNA is inside her underwear. This is your opportunity to get on the front side of this as opposed to the back side of this.
Explain what went wrong. Explain what happened. And we can work through it.
Dude, I have nothing to explain. There's nothing that went wrong. It's nothing that went wrong.
And out of the blue, your brother's just going to call us up and tell us his story.
What the fuck is going on with my brother, dude? I don't.
My favorite detective in all this just gets up and expresses himself the way we're all thinking at this point.
What we didn't know, but it confirmed it. All right. I'm done with it. Let's go. Huh?
So you guys charging me?
This has to be the dumbest question I heard all week.
Oh, you're getting charged with a case. Yes.
What case is that?
So it's a sex case. We'll let you know in just a second.
And just like that, the coldest walkout from detectives I have ever seen took place. They didn't even look at him. Jonathan is left in the room staring at the ceiling. And I truly wonder what he was thinking, but let me know what you guys think in the comments section below.
Jonathan, is there anything else you'd like to say?
There's nothing else I would like to say.
If you don't have anything else you want to share or come clean with, then at this point I'm going to place you under arrest for sexual battery. It's a first-degree felony, and that is in regards to Samaya Sawyer. Okay?
Now you might be surprised why he's being charged for Samaya's battery rather than anything related to Iyana. Well, the detective explained later. Without a confession, without a body, there's little they could actually do at this point. However, Samaya had actually spoken to them and charged him with all the inappropriate stuff that he did to her, and that was enough to place him under arrest.
I'm not sure. I know at this point, Marjorie took care of your child, so I imagine Margie is helping her with the
She should also probably be calling 911 if she was on bed rest anyway. Probably shouldn't be driving.
Yeah, I don't think I don't have a feel, man. My wife is
That's okay.
pretty. Yeah.
Fast forward 6 years to September 14th, 2023, and the trial of Jonathan Quiles had officially begun.
At first, he was a good uncle, teaching and talking. And, he was a good uncle.
At some point in time, did that change? And was that based on observations you made?
Yes.
How did that change?
Walked into him, hugging her. He was close to a lot of the kids, but he was closer to her.
As time wore on, did he become more attached to IS?
Yes. When I realized, when I walked into, I saw him hugging her, and he wasn't hugging her like you would a buddy, a pal, or a niece or nephew. He was hugging her like you would your spouse, your mate, or someone you was in love with.
That in 2018?
Yes.
Where did that take place?
At my daughter's house, Paula's.
Was that at a family dinner?
Yes.
And is what you're about to describe take place in the backyard of this family dinner?
Yes.
How many people approximately were out there?
It was just me and my husband, and then him and her.
This evening time?
It was. When he was hugged up, when he was hugged, he was hugged. His hands was around, he was hugged. They was in a full embrace. And when they seen me, it startled him.
Was your husband next to you when this happened?
Yes.
Did that cause you some concern, ma'am?
Yes.
Did it appear to be a hug like an uncle should be giving?
No.
What do you mean by that?
Because usually if a uncle, you hug higher, hug quick, move on. But that wasn't, they was attached. He was hugging her. He had an embrace.
Would you describe this hug as intimate?
Yes.
That point moving forward, did that cause you some concern?
Yes. I spoke with her mother, my daughter, Kimberly, her mother, and I said it might be a wise thing not to let him be around them by themselves. We was trying to find out who was the baby's father.
You found out she was pregnant, that you took her on a walk by yourself.
Yes.
All right. And where did that walk take place?
That was around my house. They all came to my house.
And was that in between the Thanksgiving, November 2018 time period leading into December of 2018?
Yes.
Okay. Was the purpose of your walk to ask her who the father was?
Would like to talk with her anyway, but then, yeah, I did ask her. I'm like, well, is it something that will embarrass the family? Because she would never say who the father was. I'm like, so I'm trying to understand why not, but she would not tell me.
Did you ever hear from IS again?
No.
Did you ever receive a letter from IS ever again?
No.
Did you ever receive any type of social media interaction, communication with her ever again?
No.
Have your eyes ever seen her ever again?
No.
Is there anything you could tell this jury that would give you an indication that your daughter is alive, your granddaughter is alive, ma'am?
I wish it was something that I could say. I have no idea, nothing. She was very smart. That was my little lawyer. She had other dreams. She wanted to be a surgeon, but that was my little lawyer. Because I would see her work her way out of situations or, like get excused from school or well, because of this and this is this. And she would present her case until... She was my little lawyer. No matter what her plans was, she was my little lawyer.
Yes, ma'am. Did you know her to be doing well in school at that time?
Yes. She was very smart. She was taking college course along with high school.
And are you the older or one of Kim's younger sisters?
No, I'm the oldest.
Right. Mm-hmm.
We were out there looking for her. We were going through the neighborhood. We were putting up flyers. We were trying to find my niece. We were riding around. We were trying to find her because, like I said, she did not go anywhere. She only went home, school, and then my sister Naomi's house.
Approximately when you learned she was pregnant?
The beginning of December 2018.
Did you do anything, ma'am, that caused a family disagreement in that early portion?
Yes.
Hang on, let me finish the question. In that early portion of December of 2018?
I sure did.
Tell us about that.
When I found out when she was pregnant, then I went and pulled up that app and look back and see when she got pregnant. And so, because I knew, I went and looked back, like I said, she didn't have a boyfriend, she didn't have anything. And so I added up the dates and I figured out she got pregnant when she got back from summer vacation with her grandparents in Georgia. Mm-hmm. That's when she got pregnant. Yeah, we all had those scares. And I went back and I looked at the date, I looked at the time, I looked at the due date. And I said, she got pregnant when she got back. And I know it was on July 7th because that was my mama's birthday. And we were all at the house for my mama's birthday. And so that's how I know. Personally, I didn't like the way he looked at her. But only time I would see them was at family functions. I grew up in a 2-parent household. I know how my dad looked at me. I have male partners, and I know how a grown man looked at me. And I did not like the way he looked at her.
Did you take those 3 pieces of information and lodge an accusation in early December at the defendant?
I sure did. And
tell this jury how you did that, ma'am.
It was on the text messages, and then I told, why are you so worried? We was going back and forth. The thing was, we had a family group text message, and he was included on our family group text message. And then we were going back first, and I'm like, why are you worried about who her child father is? And that's when I got cussed out.
What was the accusation you put on that family text? What was it?
That he was the father of her baby.
Did someone cuss you out as a result of that text message?
Yes.
Who was that?
I got cussed out by him. I got cussed out by my sister Naomi.
In that family text, based on the 3 things you just told the jury, did that cause friction from that point forward until the day IS went missing?
Yes.
When the defense attorney straight up said she didn't like Jonathan before,
you didn't like him.
No, I did like him. We used to party all the time. I did like him, and like I said, until things changed. We used to have fun. We used to be at his house playing bongos. Things change. The way he looked at her, my opinion, yes. I did. Let me look at you. That's how he looked at her. Now I'm going to look at you. How you doing, sir? He didn't look at her like a how you doing, sir. He looked at her like a man look at a woman.
Did you ever ask IS to confirm or deny sexual relationship, any sort of sexual relationship with Jonathan Quiles?
She wouldn't tell us about anything. Only reason why I honestly feel like we found out is because she got caught with the Kumar. Yeah, but no. Only other thing I tried to get out of her, we were trying to find out who the father of her child was, but she wouldn't say anything.
All right, so as far as you know, she never mentioned any names, according to you specifically.
To me specifically, no.
Then, Naomi herself, now Jonathan's ex-wife, described how Jonathan behaved before and after Iyana disappeared.
Prior to that, he was fidgety and nervous, restless. After she went missing, then he slept like a baby. And I'm aware of this because I was very pregnant and I was up every hour on the hour to go to the bathroom as he slept like a baby.
Naomi talked about her conversation with Jonathan after his interrogation.
He tried to give me an explanation as to how his DNA could possibly get in my niece's underwear via our wash machine. After he told me that, I then asked him, tell me the truth. His response to me was, I want to tell you the truth, but the people listening will take it the wrong way. Everything in me at that moment let go. I immediately, after that conversation, went to God regarding my vows, praying that I honored my part in my vows as his wife, because from that moment on, I explained in my prayer that I could not stand by him still and look at myself in the mirror because I no longer believed them.
On the day Iyana disappeared, Jonathan Quiles turned off his phone's GPS at 11:39 a.m. It wasn't turned on again until the next day at 4:04 p.m. Naomi found this strange because they usually shared their locations with each other. Very likely, he turned off his location tracking during this critical time frame so he could conceal the unthinkable acts that he had done to Iyana, their 5-month-old growing fetus, and dispose of their bodies.
We were trying to figure out how IS got from Terry Parker High School, the last lone place that we saw her on the video, to Ace Pick Apart. Then I remembered that we have our Google. Let me go and look at the Google location for our accounts. At that time, I realized that the Google location for my then husband had been erased all the way up until December 20th, 2018, when suddenly it reappeared.
Lastly, the star witness, Jonathan's own brother.
I live in New York City. The first initial conversation that we had was more concerned about what is he going to do with the young lady in question. She might be pregnant, and what is he going to do? He doesn't want to ruin his family and mess up what he has already going on.
Did he in fact tell you she was pregnant?
Yes, his wife's niece. After we had a small conversation, he then said that he already handled the situation. He already took care of it. In another conversation, same day, he then said that he took the young lady and he had her sitting in a vehicle. He picked her up. He tried to strangle her. It didn't work out. He couldn't stomach it. And so then he later shot her in the chest. And then he proceeded to discard the body by taking the body and putting it transporting it into a dumpster, destroying the vehicle. In the conversation, I said, it's unrealistic that you would choke a girl, have her sitting in a car waiting. She's just sitting there. He then said that he had her sitting waiting in the back of his job, at the back of the place where there's nobody really goes there. It's just cars sitting back there. So she's just waiting.
Did he say the area that she was sitting was in the back of his current job at Ace Pick Apart?
Yeah, there was a certain part that they just had vehicles just sitting there, and they would take them to get dismantled or crushed. No one really goes back there. You would need like a permission to go back there.
When he said he strangled her, did he say that was inside the car or outside the car?
It was definitely in the car. What car? I don't know.
Did he say where he shot her?
Same answer. It's in the car. I don't know if it's in the car that he brought her to or the car that was sitting there.
Did he say where he shot her on her person?
A chest. Process of like explained to her that they were going to run away together. They were going to be together.
They were going to run away together.
Yes, them two.
And that they would be together as a
They would
couple.
be together, yes. He said he wrapped her up in a carpet and then transported her.
Transport her to where?
The dumpster.
The dumpster at his work?
Yes, at Ace Picker Park, yes. He used one of the machineries, a conversation that we had. How would you just leave her sitting there, you know? No, the dumpster gets picked up today. This was going to be one of the days that it gets picked up because it's full. He knew that it was going to get picked up.
If his niece had that baby, what it would cause to his family?
No, he would lose his entire family.
What, if anything, did he tell you with respect to the weapon that he used? What was it?
His gun. He said that he went to the shooting range afterwards.
And why did he tell you he went to the shooting range?
To just blow off, I guess, whatever steam he had left over, any anxiety.
Did he tell you, Mr. Quiles, how long he had been planning to do this?
He said he's planning it for months.
Did he tell you anything with respect to what he did with her phone?
He said he took it and threw it into like a neighboring water, a river or something, body of water.
Were you surprised by what he told you?
Absolutely.
Shock you?
Yes.
Did you put the phone down, call the police right then?
No, I didn't.
Tell us why not.
I just didn't believe him. You know, I thought he was joking. He tells a lot of elaborate stories. Most of them are not true. So I definitely didn't believe him. I just thought it was one of his little concocted stories.
Was that a difficult decision, sir?
Yeah, very difficult decision. But I love my brother, so it was very difficult. I gave it time, and I tried to speak to him more about seeing if he would change what he said, giving him that opportunity.
Did you say you love your brother?
Yeah, I do.
Did you want to call the police?
Absolutely not. But we don't tolerate anything that has to do with abuse of women and children. No, we don't tolerate that kind of stuff. That's not the cloth that I'm cut from.
Yes, sir. And when you say we, you're talking about your family.
Talking about myself in general, specific. Final straw is when the last conversation we had, and he said, basically, I don't know him, and am I willing to risk our brotherhood for a situation like this? After I told him that I'm gonna report this and call the police, he then said, how are you gonna jeopardize our brotherhood based upon something that I was just joking about. Right. But my decision was already made.
And on that day that you decided to call the police, did you send him a text?
Yes.
Quote, I can't talk to you right now. I have to stay firm on my decision. What you told me isn't some joke or something you like about. So yes, I told the police because they needed to know. If you was lying, then you will be cleared and free. But if you wasn't, then you won't. I'm sorry I have to do the right thing for that girl and her family, not the right thing for you and your selfishness. I hate to lose you, but I'd rather that the girl's family have some peace. If you're innocent, then you don't need to worry and they won't find her body. But if you're not, they're going to find her. And in that case, I already lost my brother. I'm sorry. Sir, did you send that text to your brother?
Yes, I did. I think that's the last text I sent him.
I have so much respect for this man. It's probably one of the hardest things he had to do in his life. How many of us would be able to do the same if put in that situation? Also shown in court is the day after Iyana disappeared, and Jonathan is wearing a yellow raincoat. This is the day that he packed and dumped Iyana's body. They believe her body left in a red container truck, which is going to a dump site. That the police searched for her body at the dump site using dogs as well, but unfortunately they were unable to locate her except for a few Victoria's Secret underwear, which they believe belonged to Iyana. They also found her textbooks and other items. They did notice vultures at the dump site, which isn't uncommon, but then they wondered if her body was devoured by vultures. What also shocked everyone in court is the extent of Jonathan's grooming and manipulation on Iyana back when she was just 14 years old. The recovered Snapchat messages, according to detectives, showed there was a lot of sex going on between Jonathan and Iyana under everyone's noses. Detective Billy Abbott read these messages such as, just making sure it's so easy for me to leave you alone. Goodbye, Iyana, which showed the manipulative tone and desire to control Iyana. He also wrote, I'm so in love with you, I'll kill you and cry, a disturbing blend of affection and violence. He also appeared to view their relationship as one where Iyana cannot escape, such as a photo he sent her with the word cheater. More than this, he mentioned plans for a future together when she turned 18, and he was stringing her along before ultimately ending her life in a brutal way. Also in jail, he was wiretapped by 2 of his cellmates with over a 2-hour recording. Here's a small snippet of what he said, but it basically aligned with whatever he told his brother and was also used as evidence against him.
They said that they did my DNA that I gave them, and they tested to that kit that they already had on her underwear, and after my DNA came up on that. That's what's baffling to me, because I'm real talk. When the last time you had sex with a prior to her getting killed?
I watched my family completely fall apart over the years. There were so many ups and downs. This loss left a hole in our hearts that can never be filled. How do we move forward as a family? We kept our faith and awaited our day in court.
State of Florida versus Jonathan Quiles in 19 CF 7518, convert as to sentence in count 1. We, the jury, unanimously find that the state has proven the following aggravating factors beyond a reasonable doubt as to defendant Jonathan Quiles in this case. 1. Jonathan Quiles was previously convicted of a capital felony or a felony involving the use or threat of violence to another person. Answer, no. 2. The first-degree murder was committed for the purpose of avoiding or preventing a lawful arrest. Answer, yes. Number 3. The first-degree murder was especially heinous, atrocious, or cruel. Answer, no.
This finding truly shocked many who followed the public trial, especially since strangling and shooting a heavily pregnant teenager did not seem heinous enough to these jurors.
4. First-degree murder was committed in a cold, calculated, and premeditated manner without any pretense of moral or legal justification. Answer, yes. 5. IS was particularly vulnerable because Jonathan Quiles stood in a position of familial or custodial authority over IS. Answer, yes. We, the jury, find Jonathan Quiles should be sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. Sign.
I don't have too much to say. A couple things I do want to add is what I find most sad about these cases. What's sad about these cases is the impact it has on people beyond this courtroom. Although it's the state of Florida versus Jonathan Quiles, this court has been filled with people beyond that. Aunts, uncles, grandparents, cousins, and even on the defense side, his brother, his aunts, his cousins. And then what goes unmentioned is his 5 children. Although they have to live with this, they don't deserve it. It just shows you the impact of one decision impacts so many people beyond the criminal justice system. The last thing I want to add is the testimony came out during the trial. The family found out early December the 3rd, and then the rest of the family found out December 6th regarding Iyana's pregnancy. She had no visit on December 13th. I recall the testimony coming out that the child, at that point, the pregnancy was 22 weeks and 5 days. And if you do the math, 6 days later, December 19th, she would have been 23 weeks and 4 days.
This moment where the judge is trying to compose himself might be the most powerful, moving moment of this entire trial.
2 people were murdered. That baby could feel love and comfort. Sadly, because of Mr. Quiles, he made sure it felt pain. But that baby was a real person. I find some comfort knowing that she was with her mother at the time. Sir, you can stand with your returns to the podium.
You can hear the judge fighting to hold back tears. He begins to deliver the sentence.
So, Mr. Quiles, you were found guilty by a jury of your peers. As to count 1, you're adjudicated guilty of that offense. You're sentenced to life in prison with a 20-year minimum mandatory as required by Florida law. You have 1,537 days credit. As to count 2, you're adjudicated guilty. You're sentenced to life in prison. You have 0 days credit. Count 2 is consecutive to count 1. Count 3, the sexual battery charge, you were adjudged guilty. You're sentenced to life in prison. Count with 0 days credit. Count 3 is consecutive to count 2. I did sign the order designating him a sexual predator. It will be filed with the clerk's office today.
Jonathan Quiles is now a registered sex offender, and with these consecutive life terms, he will never see freedom again. On screen, you can check out another comprehensive case like this or a playlist of all my cases. Thank you.